Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Today taking a look at Sio Bibble from the Star Wars Episode 1 line. This figure was released in the year 2000, and as you can see it does come on that Episode 1 card with Darth Maul in the upper left side. Through the blister you see the figure with his included accessory, and then off to the left you got a nice image of him along with that CommTech chip below that. And then looking at the back of the card, left side of the top is your brief bio statement about Sio Bibble, and that he stayed behind while Queen Amidala went to Coruscant. To the right of that is a very brief description about Episode 1. Middle of the card is essentially your advertisement for the CommTech reader and what the chips do. And then below that is a handful of figures that were available in the line around that time. And now looking at the figure out of the packaging. And truthfully, this is one of my favorite figures from the line. Now, I do think overall, as far as Episode 1 line goes, there are a lot of good figures. But for some reason, this one really just always stands out to me as just being a very good-looking figure. I think it's quite representative of how the character looked in the movie. Not only in the sculpting of the facial features, but of the costume itself. And very nice, vibrant colors to it. But really, beyond that, there's not anything really special to this figure, but yet I do really still like it. Going in for a closer look at the face, as I said, is very representative of how the character looked in the movie. Hair sculpting looks fantastic. You can make out some curls being done on the bottom end of the hair. Very nice coloring to it. But while I say that, I have to say that the beard and mustache is a pretty bright white color. It looks like he stuck his head in a snowbank and, cartoonishly that's what stuck. I do wish they kind of, graded up a little bit, but it's pretty easy for me to let that one go. But painting for the eyebrows, painting for the eyes, all of that just looks great. It spins around to the backside, you get a better look at the hair, as I mentioned. You can really definitely make out some of those curls. And they're even kind enough to give the guy his bald spot. Moving on down, you've got basically this outer robe that makes up the bulk of what you're seeing for the body. Very nice puffy sleeves that they sculpted into the figure for the arms, and that looks great. Very nice dark purple running along the top of the shoulders and through the upper chest. And even with the sleeves and in the upper part of that chest, a very fine amount of texturing being sculpted into that plastic. Through that upper part, you also have some nice layering of the fabric sculpted in there. His fabric was I think 3 different layers of same color fabric. And while it is very subtle on this figure, they did try to achieve that with the look here. So you're certainly getting some of those fine details of his costume being sculpted in there. And then you got this kind of dark blue, dark purple going on for the remainder of those robes that split off to the sides of the chest and around the back. Very nice drape sculpted in, some nice folds. And then for the inner part of the body, you're able to see his orange clothing that makes up the rest of his costume with some nice silver painted fasteners or buttons, snaps, whatever they would be. And moving down to the legs of the figure, blue pants, black boots, but still a nice sculpt to go along with it. Certainly got some various wrinkles and folds being sculpted into the fabric for his pant legs. And there is a very different texture going on. You can almost make out that there is a pattern sculpted into those pants. So while you might have to look a little closer to see some of these fine details, I appreciate that they're in there. And then for the boots themselves, nice black shiny boots, nothing overly special. Getting to the articulation where things were still pretty simple, but that head rotates all the way around. At the shoulders, you get a full rotation, full swivel at the waist, and then the legs come straight out and only a little bit back due to the length of his costume. As for accessories, it comes with a single Naboo blaster. Sculpting to it is quite nice and, very identifiable as being a blaster that you would find on Naboo. Goes between the black and silver painting, which is done quite well. Not bleeding off onto the various edges or anything like that, so the colors are staying right where they need to be, and it fits well into his left hand. Not entirely great as it's a little awkward and pointed up, but they just, didn't really sculpt him with the trigger finger, which is quite alright because he wasn't using a gun anyways. And then finally, for the last bit of fun, you did get the CommTech chip, which also doubled as a figure stand. It has a little peg sticking up on the top you can place your figure on. Nice image of him, which is also the same image that you had on the card. And at this point in the line, they were placing the images on a white background instead of that holographic silver. And then on the back side of the chip gives you his name, a number, and a lineup, which is really the only place you're going to find this number anyways. And then a brief description about him. Let's take a listen to those lines.
A communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion. How will you explain this invasion to the Senate? This invasion will gain you nothing.
Well, those are his lines. Did indeed say those in the movie, but that just sounds nothing like him, which is pretty much par for the course for the CommTech line, so we'll just leave it at that. Give him an E for effort, I guess. So overall for me, as I said, I really love this figure. I think they did a fantastic job on it, and it really highlights one of the things that were so great about the Star Wars line back in the day, is that you got a strong showing of various background characters and aliens. So you had a lot to choose from for building dioramas, or if you're, just playing with figures. You had a lot in your toy box that you could choose from. And that's really what's missing today. But as far as this figure goes, like I said, it's just one of my favorites from the line. So that wraps this one up. Definitely let me know what you think of this figure in the comments section below. And as always, thank you for watching.